Good day, everybody. For those of you that followed me and have watched some of my videos, you'll know that some of the videos that I post are just because I've got very excited over a specific subject. And this is what's happened today. Now, the study in itself is not a particularly impactful study by itself, because the study was looking at finger taps, the rate at which you can tap your finger, and whether there would be an improvement after transcranial photobiomodulation, i.e. photobiomodulation through the skull. And so that in its own doesn't sound like a particularly big deal. Oh God, and the study showed that there was a significant improvement in the ability to tap your finger quickly after the photobiomodulation. So that in itself, you think, what difference does that make? But just extrapolate that further. Just go with that. If now they know that shining a light through your skull can increase the speed at which the signal is sent from your brain to tap your finger, what other things can photobiomodulation do in terms of motor performance or motor coordination? And how many potential huge impacts, performance enhancing impacts, can that give? If you are someone that has a very, very fine motor skilled job, if you are a surgeon, can photobiomodulation help with that? If you have some other kind of, even if you're a racing driver and it's all about reactions and being able to react and put that into a motor pattern. Even as a footballer, you react and you put into a fine motor pattern. If you shine, now this is what I'm talking about. So the study was on finger tapping, one particular area of the brain, about here, and measuring finger tapping, and they showed a significant difference, not just in the right finger but in the left finger as well. Now these are all right-handed people, and it showed improvements in the right and left finger when you shined it on one particular area of the brain. Now I must say that these were using lasers, but when you look at these studies, and some of them may be using lasers, I obviously haven't been shining red light on my head today. When you look at them, it's important to understand both the power density and the energy density. So the power density in watts and the energy density in joules. Because with some of these lasers, they're fairly low powered lasers. And it is possible, as I showed yesterday in the study, that it's possible for some LEDs to get to a fairly powerful wattage if you put it on the surface. And also in terms of the energy density, it's more than possible for the for LEDs to get to the same energy density in terms of the amount of joules supplied to that area. And so it's important that we understand that. So this one was to do with lasers, but had 200 milliwatt lasers and to an energy density of 60 joules, both of which are attainable through LEDs. So I'll go back to the original point of the video, was if we now start to fully understand, which we're still not there, we are starting to begin to understand the positive benefits, but we are more and more starting to understand the impact of particular wavelengths of light being shone through the skull having a positive impact on neuronal performance. Because if we have a direct improvement in finger tapping through shining a light on one particular area of the brain, then we have demonstrated improvement in neuronal performance in that area of the brain. So if there's an improvement in that area of the brain, could we take a leap and say, right, then surely we should be able to see other improvements in other parts of the brain. Now, that's taking a leap, and I understand that, but when I read studies like this and I get excited about the fact that the studies are being done, not just the fact that the studies are being done, but their studies are being done and then we are showing a positive improvement in that. And I showed yesterday that there is an improvement in cognitive performance in older people. But this one, which I haven't mentioned, strangely, this was done in healthy people. This wasn't old people. This wasn't people with some mental health disorder or whatever. But again, we look at the mental health side of things. And we see improvements in anxiety. We see improvements in depression. So we don't fully understand the method with which it's working at, in so many levels. But it is, and it's providing a very positive impact. And so it goes back to the point again. Does finger tapping mean anything? Is it a big impactful study? No, but it's what it represents. A clear improvement in brain function in a particular area when shined with a particular wavelength of light. And time and again, we are seeing this. And this was in healthy individuals. This was in healthy individuals aged 18 to 30. So improvements can be had even when you are at your so-called peak. So if you are someone that is, if we are suggesting this, if we are suggesting that we can have on motor performance and motor control, then as I said, I gave examples of where it might be beneficial. Now, this is something obviously that needs to be studied more. But we've also seen improvements in mental health disorders. We've seen improvements in cognition, attention behavior and stuff like that. And so it leads to the question, just how powerful is it? Just what could it improve? Now, every so often, if I feel like I wake up and I've got, not brain fog as it were, but I don't feel mentally switched on, then I will put the red light on. And again, it's not just any old red light, it's specific wavelengths of light. And that is why I choose to work the way I do with the lights that I do. And I choose to offer, right, I can order that in for you, I will get that for you, that particular wavelength of light, because that's what you need for that. And time and again, around 810 nanometers has been shown to have the most penetrative ability through the skull. And so that's the one I use every so often if I feel I need it. Yeah, so I'll go back to the point. That study in itself, and the study I'm going to do another picture about it later on. The impact of that study in itself is not huge, but the possible ramifications for that study of where it can lead to and what it means that is it worth getting excited about? I would say potentially yes, massively, because of what it directly shows. So I will leave with this. If you are interested in improving your cognitive ability, look into photobiomodulation and cognitive improvement, or if you are looking to reduce the signs of aging in that sense, look into photobiomodulation and how that might be able to help. Because as I say, the more they study it, the more they find positive results. So it's absolutely worth looking for. It's absolutely worth looking at for you if you are interested, for you or your loved ones. For you or your loved ones. Absolutely have a look at it, because I'm a firm believer of where this is going. It's just going to show positive results.